Yes, welcome to today's series. A very quick one. So, today we'll be discussing how to prove ownership or title to land. How do you prove that you own the land? How do you prove that this land, this plot is your own? It's very key. Why? Because even when you want to buy property from someone, the seller must prove that he or she owns the property. You know. So now it is very germane that you watch this video to the end. Watch this video to the end because with this, you'll be able to identify the ways in which ownership of land can be proved in Nigeria. Very key. It's something that you cannot miss because if you end up buying a property that is defective, you end up buying litigation. Honestly, and as we all know, ignorance of the law is not an excuse at all. It's not. Ignorance justice is not excusas. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So that is why it's very key that you know these tips, ways at your fingertips. Once you know them, fine, you are good to go. So it's very good you watch it to the end. Now, let's begin. There are various ways in which ownership of land title can be proved in Nigeria. There are various ways. But today we'll focus on the one that be used that be established by the Supreme Court of Nigeria over time. In the case of Idudum versus Okumagba, in Idudum versus Okumagba, the Supreme Court laid down five solid ways, if you like, five commandments in which title to land in Nigeria can be proved, in which you can prove that, oh, this property is your own, just like that. The first one is traditional evidence. First, traditional evidence or history. If you're able to prove that, oh, your ancestors deforested the land and they have been there over time, or as we all know, your ancestors maybe they have been customary and tenants. Yes, customary tenancy ensures in perpetuity, subject to and good behavior, and so that is of another that is on its own. But we'll be focusing on traditional evidence, ability to prove that you have been on the property, your ancestors have been on the property over time, and there must not be any breakage in the link in linking the ancestor to it. So be able to it must flow from the first. It must flow from generation to generation. How your ancestors have been on the property. If there are ways or there was time wherein your ancestors leased the land or and had tenants in the property like customary tenancy as enunciated in Agegen versus Wagarego, the case of Agegen versus Wagarego, which said that customary tenancy endures in perpetuity subject to good behavior. So over time, if your ancestors maybe gave out a property as customary under customary tenancy, you'll be able to also prove it. So this is one of the ways. This is number one in which you can prove that title to property can be proved, ownership of property can be proved. The second one is act of ownership. Oh, you have owned the property. You own the property over a sufficient length of time. You know, this second one is very key. Ownership, that you have been on the property, you own the property over a length of time, positive enough to warrant difference of being the owner. So if you're able to prove that, fine, it means your property. Then the third one is act of possession, act of long possession. This one is very key because act of because you know an action cannot arise from a base cause. Estupi causa non orito asho. And then secondly, equity aid the vigilant, not the indolent. Vigilantibus non domentibus juria subvenient. So this particular one is very technical. So if you have been on property over a period of time, long possession, it's not your own, but you have occupied less of a period of 20 years and nobody disturb you. Even the purported owner knew that you have been on property for 20 years and he or she never disturb you. He allowed you to lay foundation, build, and after everything, after all said and done, you have roofed, he want to claim no. He who must come with to equity must come with clean hands. Must come with clean hands. So with that, be able to prove that if you can, you able to prove that you have been on property, you have been on long possession of the property for let's say a period of 20 years, it's yours. The court will say it's yours. That's number 10. Then the fourth one is out of possession of adjacent land. If you're able to prove that, oh, adjacent or adjoining plots belong to you, that is an inference to show that the property in question in dispute belong to you. That's number 4. So the fifth one is production of document duly signed and executed. That means the document have been signed, sealed, and delivered. If you have this document at the disposal, that you know, that if you have this document at the disposal, that you are the owner, you really bought, let's maybe deed of assignment or deed of transfer, duly signed, sealed, and delivered by a legal practitioner. That's enough. That's enough to show that it's your property. Now, it's good you understand these 5 ways to prove it so that you don't have issue, because it's better to spend time to clear this out, and that is why it's good most times to employ a lawyer in Nigeria, to employ a lawyer to conduct a search for you before buying property, because it's better to pay a counsel, a lawyer to do a search for you than avoiding that lawyer, then go to him later and pay him hell, large sum of money to defend you in court. And in cases of cases regarding to property, cases regarding to land, spend much time in court. So to avoid that, to avoid buying litigation, it is very germane, very key that you take your time and then ensure that these 5 ways to prove ownership is duly followed. Thank you very much.